Ah, beat 'em ups. I love this genre. Who can say there's anything more satisfying than a game where you just mow through waves of enemies, usually with a friend or two, while awesome music plays in the background and gorgeous art is painted across every screen? To me, there isn't. Beat 'em ups have always been a favorite of mine, thanks to my brother and I playing many, many rounds of Turtles in Time on SNES when I was younger. This love would later grow even more when I played through Streets of Rage with its incredible music and super satisfying sound design. I even tried my hand at some of those 3D ones in the PS2 era, though nothing ever came close to the Warriors, even to this day. Some have aged great, still play great today, others not so much. But what if I told you that one of the best games in the genre came out pretty recently? And no, I'm not talking about Streets of Rage 4, even though that game is absolutely just as good, if not slightly better in some ways. No, I'm talking about Fight and Rage, a game developed by one Sebastian Garcia with music by Gonzalo Varela. Sorry if I butchered that. Originally released on PC in 2017 with Xbox One, PS4, and Switch ports in 2019, the game stars Ricardo, F. Norris, and Gal as they fight through several stages of mutant rats, boxing dogs, and even ninja chickens to end a war against humans. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that this story is why you should play the game. It's just enough to be there and be kind of interesting, and it doesn't take over the whole game like, say, River City Girls or something like that. Now, let me start by saying the combo trees in this game are super, super satisfying, especially when you have the maximum 3 players. Each character has a distinct playstyle and their own sets of strengths and weaknesses. Ricardo has some of the most powerful moves in the game with the longest reach, but he can't run and is extremely slow and easy to combo. F. Norris is middle of the road, average damage and speed, but a really long combo tree and some great flashy moves. And finally there's Gal, my main for, several reasons. Now she's the fastest of the bunch and can do some great crowd control, but she lacks damage and has terrible reach. In a 3-player game, expect Ricardo to almost always get the most points. Outside of the combos and secret moves, there's your standard beat-em-up fare like weapons, parries, grabs, heals, throws, desperation moves, and the occasional power-up. Again, not super deep like the customization in Streets of Rage 4 offers, but honestly, I'd almost say that's a point in the game's favor. Anyone can hop in, button mash, and have fun doing it, but there's some depth and complexity in it for those that want it. A single playthrough is less than an hour or so, but this game has so many endings. The most unique part is that there's a variation for every possible character combination. And while, again, there's not much depth to them, it's still incredible to see one person put so much detail into this. Now, to get all of these alternate endings, you're going to have to do some branching paths. In one playthrough, you may fight this annoying asshole, but in another, you may fight this walking furry trap that seems to always kick our ass. There's a lot of replay value here, and you'd be doing yourself a disservice by only playing this game 1 or 2 times. My group and I actually didn't ever find this incredible biking section until our very last playthrough to try and get the final ending we were missing. That being said, all roads do eventually lead to the same final boss. Some of these alternate paths are hidden pretty well, so be sure to try everything and every combination of actions and routes that you see. Like, say, for instance, throwing a knife at this first boss and seeing what happens. At its core, the game comes down to crowd control and spatial awareness. Generally, you want to get as many of the enemies on screen in your combo as you can and move them from one side of the screen to the other. Then once they hit the floor, move on to another crowd that's coming in from the other side, because if you don't know about wake-up attacks and proper positioning, this game will absolutely teach you. Like these dogs that make me want to chew glass, spit it out, and shove it up my... Sorry. Got a little heated there. Hang on, let me take it out on this guy. Oh, yeah! That was this game's other unique mechanic, the crush system. If you wail on an enemy enough, they just die in most other games, but in this one, you can continue to beat on them until they explode into a shower of bones. It is the most satisfying thing I've ever had in a beat 'em up, and I wish more games did something like this. It doesn't work on bosses. Okay, I guess it does. We've just never been able to pull it off. Anyway, I'm fairly certain every normal enemy can be dealt with in this way. The best part is that the game incentivizes this by awarding bonus points with a successful crush. No matter what, I never get tired of seeing our Ricardo player slam someone into the ground for this amazingly satisfying pop, and honestly, that's why he always wins the levels. And honestly, there's not a whole lot I can complain about here. The short length makes replays a breeze, and the lack of a level-up system makes a replay so much less of a chore, unlike River City Girls or Scott Pilgrim, where you go from being extremely powerful at the end to being super weak and slow when you try to replay. There's plenty of extra modes to unlock as well, with survival, score attack, versus, and time attack. Most of these will let you play as literally any character in the game, too. You have to meet unlock requirements to do it, but if you go for all endings, you'll most likely get them anyway. There's tons of character alternates, and even game setting tweaks, like turbo and fast mode. My group and I play this about every other week or so, and it's always a good time. My main complaints with the game would probably boil down to mainly some of the difficulty spikes, and the almost universal beat-em-up problem of the 3D planes sometimes not quite matching up, leading to whiffed attacks or getting hit by moves you thought you were out of the range of. There's also not much more to the increased difficulty other than more enemies that hit harder and have more health. No new variants with unique moves or anything. What else do I not like? The art's great, the music is wonderful, the story is good enough for a beat-em-up, the combos are great, and the multiplayer is very fun and fair. It's usually about $20 but goes on sale pretty frequently. Just recently it was $5 on Steam's autumn sale. Do yourself a favor and pick it up. I myself went the extra mile and got a physical copy on Switch, and yeah, I know limited run games has some controversy, and some of it I do agree with, but this isn't one of those games that I could just import from Japan. This is one that I'm pretty sure if I missed out on, I was never going to have. So do I think this is better than Streets of Rage 4? I would say both have their advantages and disadvantages. Streets of Rage feels a little bit slower and more grapple heavy, but there's more meat to the story, and the survival mode's a bit more fleshed out. I'd say they're about equal, but if I had to pick just one to play for the rest of my life, I'd probably go with Fight and Rage. The gameplay's a bit quicker, and that crush system is just too satisfying for me to give up. So yeah, this one is absolutely a buy for me. Even if you're not deep into the genre, you'll have a great time with it. So those are my thoughts, and I hope to see you in the void again. Thanks for watching. Way forward, when are you gonna make Skullmageddon a playable character? Okay, thanks, bye.